Good morning live. Hello live viewers. I am live in Herzliyah Marina, and this will turn into Brian of London's Forest Chat podcast at some point, but you guys on the videos get to see the beautiful scenery, and I'm going to get this thing to a stable place and probably see if I can just put it in a good attitude for talking, because I've got something to say this morning, because I was watching Sargon of Akkad's latest short video, which was a deconstruction of oh, you know what, I'm gonna have to wait a little bit because I'll start again in a few minutes with the podcast. Yeah, Sargon of Akkad did a thing on Ben Shapiro talking about whether it's right to kill baby Hitler, and Ben Shapiro takes the same moral position that I do, as does Sargon of Akkad, which is it's never right to kill babies. Babies have no moral culpability. So, you know, obviously it's a ridiculous hypothetical. You don't know which babies are going to grow up to be Hitler, but it's totally ridiculous. Yet the left are hounding Shapiro on Twitter, saying, why wouldn't he kill baby Hitler? Well, because there are other things you can do to stop a Hitler from committing a genocide, and that's just a fact. This might take some editing to turn into a podcast, because there's going to be pauses while I think about things. All right, well, we're streaming all of this live anyway. I'm out here because somewhere down there in that crowd of sailing boats that are rowing is my son. This is the Sea Scouts of Israel, which, by the way, just a sort of a little aside, Sea Scouts in Israel seem to be mixed, i.e. boys and girls, and I think scouting in general here is mixed, boys and girls. And I don't think that's ever really been a particularly controversial thing. Let's do a low pass over this. The one thing I'm slightly worried about when flying over these little boats is masts. Though I'm at 22 meters above my takeoff point, and none of these boats have particularly tall masts. I think we can even descend a little bit. We're going to do a fly past. This won't be a suitable candidate for a podcast without the visuals, but we're going to do something called a reverse reveal. Now, I'm at 18 meters, hoping that none of the masts are 18 meters. I think I'm comfortably above all of them. That looks like a good shot. Somewhere is my son. The chances of me finding him while looking at an iPhone screen in the sun are pretty negligible. Now, I'll tell you what I'm going to do is, let's do an orbit. So we're going to swing to the left whilst panning the camera to the right, and that will bring in an overexposed sky. And yeah, that's no good. Gonna have to adjust. I'm using fully manual on the exposure and contrast and all of that stuff, but that comes with it much responsibility. Anybody else live? So what I come down to is that I basically agree with Sargon of Akkad. Now, I don't agree with Sargon on everything. Sargon gets stuff wrong. especially to do with Israel, because he lives in a milieu where he's not exposed to the correct information, and he hasn't seemingly managed to work out that the same people who feed him bad information about Trump or lie constantly about him, i.e. the Guardian and all of the forces of the sort of far left media, despite it being Jewish dominated supposedly, he hasn't managed to extend that and his view of those things onto the tainted information he gets about Israel, which is a pity. You know, maybe one day I can change that, but first he has to talk to me. But in this, you know, it's interesting to find him agreeing with Ben Shapiro, because he, you know, if you know anything about the conservative movements and basically this sort of, that part of YouTube that Sargon is in, they're not big fans of Ben Shapiro, not because he's Jewish, but because of his anti-Trump views and his unwillingness to realize how dirty the culture war is, and to fight the left in a way that, well, you know, in the dirtiest way, which I think we need to be doing. I mean, we really need to be using all of their dirty tactics on them, because they really do fight in a most horrible way. Now, pause while I perform an interesting sort of flight maneuver. Now that looked worse than it is. I haven't actually descended. In fact, we're going to ascend now. And hopefully we should bring the whole fleet into view. That's good. How's that for some smooth camera work? Obviously the point of this is to film a whole bunch of stuff and then edit it up later. And so what I film live isn't always shots that will make the thing, but I'm trying to make as many of these shots smooth as possible. And now I'm going to just do a big orbit with Tel Aviv in the distance. That's Tel Aviv in the top left of your screen, because we're to the north of Tel Aviv, and I think the goal is, what all these kids are up to, is they're going to row or sail all the way down to Tel Aviv from here, which is Herzliyah Marina, and possibly join up with the Sea Scouts who are now. What do you think I'm gonna do? Tap fly. That looks good. I have no idea how many people are watching. It's kind of annoying. Facebook is better than Google for that. Facebook gives me comments and so forth, but I just don't like Facebook all that much. That was a good shot. And what's my altitude? I'm going to get out of this mode. I can figure out how. Normal. Now that means I've got no battery, and I'm going to just do is turn around, and basically I'm going to fly home. I think they're all underneath me. Alright, I'm quite a long way from home, and I'm going to fly all the way back. Yeah, I've got, because that was 700 meters away from me, which is pretty much the limits of my range here. Sorry about the beeping. There's no real way to turn that off, and I have no desire to turn that off. There she is. Might as well do a quick selfie while I'm here.